Hello everyone and welcome back to the Spearhead cast. Me, Mats. We're on the map Pripyat, which is not a map I see too often. Very vanilla comedy heroes 2 with a lot of choke points and narrow areas. If you're wondering why there wasn't a video yesterday, it's because my internship has kind of been taking a little bit of my time, so I have to reschedule when I do my recordings. Anyway, that's not what you're here for. Let's go through the players. Representing the allies, we have Lucky Lieutenant Dan playing as the Commonwealth without a commander, it's sure as shit. We have Panther going straight at the gate with Rifle Company for the United States of America. Let's see how that turns out. Representing the Germans today, we have Unterkommander playing as Panzerdivision for the Wehrmacht. And F-31-81 playing as Luftwaffe for the Wehrmacht. Going for Luftwaffe troops. Ooh, I like to see this. Someone who uses the Luftwaffe troops instead of just the other units you can get. So this is a lot of Luftwaffe Pioneers, which is a cheaper unit you can get if you're playing as Luftwaffe. Roll pause, and they're not really the best combat troops, but they'll suffice in the battlefield for a while. But the British went for the fuel there early. And while they have its typical 1-1-1 start for Unterkommander, both Grenadiers and Grenadiers working together. We also have a commander choice here. Looks like it is Royal Commander Regiment with Hammer specialization. This should lead to some interesting gameplay in the future, hopefully. First shots might be fired over here. Oh well, looks like it was up here. Pioneers engaging with the echelon. American riflemen arriving now en masse. One of the good advantages of playing as US Rifle is your riflemen arrive so much faster. Excuse me. Ooh, the Luftwaffe Pioneers trying to set up sandbags on the fire is probably not the best idea. But it might work out here because they're focused on those Pioneers. At long range, the Germans should do pretty competently. On the other flank, though, the British are holding back the other Wehrmacht forces. As you see, they're shooting through the terrain here, which is a thing Comedy Heroes 2 does not take account for, really. I know Comedy Heroes 3 looks like it does, so that might be a thing when that game comes out, hopefully. We have an MG42 arriving for the Panzer Division shortly. Maintains their 1-1-1 straight into a machine gun. Both Grenadiers firing on the British from afar. Trying to hold the line. And well, the Grenadiers are digging up on the center railroad there. And the Luftwaffe keeps trying to keep the Americans at bay from this farm. Now the question is who will win that fight in the long run. It might be the Americans, but we have an MG-44 arriving in now from the Luftwaffe forces. We also have a vertical door arriving for the United States. British troops are trying to engage in the forest here against the Volksgrenadier. And the Grenadiers are holding the center there, so the rifle section cannot flank easy. Because the British are going to have to fall a little bit back with their defensive line, taking up around this hill. Now the Americans are circling around. Oh, they're trying to cut off the the German points. Yes, the Americans had enough of staying in that firefight. They're just going to cut off the Wehrmacht from the other angle, trying to support their British ally. The Grenadiers are now going to get flanked. That's a lot of rifle fire coming away, but they are firing over long range, which the Americans are. Oh, rifle grenade! They're not the best rifle grenade. You know, the MG-42 has been set up down here. They'll start to spread through the British, but the Americans are flanking around here. And well, the vertical has been set up here to intervene when the Luftwaffe troops take advantage of the fact that the Americans have moved. The vertical is opening fire. But the Americans have almost successfully cut off the German positions in the forest. They're still clearing through this little one here. Ooh, that might be a dead Grenadier. If the Americans switch target when he runs past, yep, one shot there from a echelon. Well, the Pioneers and the Fallschirmjäger Pioneers trying their best here. Both Grenadiers rushing up, looks like Grenadiers to die after all. We saw them die there. Oh, we also have some commandos arriving, but they have to retreat. The Balllandung force some Americans back there. MG-42 mowed down a squad. American riflemen are still somewhat holding on here. Using the M1 Garand at advantage. Meanwhile, we have a rifle section supporting some flank. Actually, they're firing at the MG-42. Volksgrenadier trying to get the hell out of there. Goes down now. Mortar opening fire. It's a small American mortar, which is really underutilized actually, but it's surprisingly good just because of how cheap and accurate it can be, like supporting in like a small engagement. We also have a second mortar coming. It might be the same one. Yep, there's also 60mm, so we're getting lots of tiny mortars for the US rifle. Lots of infantry equipment. Here's the commandos that was infiltrated. A recon assault team that's very good for getting behind enemy lines or spawning in enemy lines actually. And doing sneaky stuff, but I think the allies have taken a pretty large part of the front already. He has some Fallschirmjäger Jägers on the field now, made up of Luftwaffe personnel on the ground. Generally a pretty competent basic infantry squad if you're playing as Luftwaffe. That's just below the Fallschirmjägers in tier. The Jägers are pretty damn good. They arrive with Gewehr 43, so they actually have semi-auto rifles as their basic weapon, which is a really big deal, by the way. Being armed with the MD-15 here, a Luftwaffe weapon. Well, actually it was used by German aircraft, but it was modified to serve on the ground. A pretty interesting one. It is actually visible in Company Heroes 3, I saw in the alpha. And yeah, it has its own model and everything, so yeah, for Luftwaffe forces in Company Heroes 3, I guess. Anyway, we have the Panzer Grenadier moving alongside the Luftwaffe forces. MD-34 keeping the Americans at bay. Was moving out of the squad entirely. Mortars opening fire. I think the advantage of these small mortars is they also tend to fire a lot more on their own, but they are using an ability here. They have a pretty long auto-targeting range compared to other mortars. Need someone to have sight on them before they can actually be very effective. Because machine guns sitting up here for the Commonwealth. Oh, commandos has been spotted. They use open fire. Oh, they fire with their silent Sten guns, which do actually suppress. Meanwhile, the Germans are trying to move over the bridge, but there is a Mthis. There's a side blocker though. There we go. Now it opens fire. And that forces the Germans to have to run back. MD-34, oh that's an MD-42 I think? Oh that's a 34, you can see on the barrel. If the barrel's like completely rounded, it's like an MD-34. While where's the MD-42? Well, if the barrel is like more like a square like that, it's more an MD-42, you can tell that way. Oh, commandos always overrun, probably have smoke grenades to run back. But now the Panzer Grenadiers are getting in position. But they are being flanked here from a shot from a marksman. Forcing the Panzer Grenadiers to run back. Looks like the Allies have the upper hand at the moment with a little bit of a foothold here. Lots of small mortars on the field, I like it. And some basic and cheap fire support for the Allied side. Due to one arriving here for the Luftwaffe, being upgraded to a 222, we have a second one as well. So we might have a 222 push early on. Try and get some ground back for the Germans. You can set up so they can airdrop in supplies and weapons. Cheap? I think it only costs munitions. Yeah, so that's actually pretty good. And actually airdrop a mortar. Obviously with the Allied mortars. Also some Fallschirmjägers are being recruited here. Elite squad available to... Well, elite units available to the Luftwaffe. Yep, and there we go, a mortar. Oh, commandos have infiltrated. But the commando officer cannot stealth anymore. So a very sudden flank here from the officer. But the 221 should be, turning into a 222, should be able to stop it. Especially when there's two of them. Yeah, that might be the definite officer. Yep. Sprung the ambush way too early. Or just at the wrong time anyway. You also have a Panzer II command tank here for the Panzer Division. Pretty basic command unit for the Wehrmacht Panzers. So the 222s are going on the warpath. There's not a lot here to stop them. Americans tend to lack in early anti-vehicle equipment. Vertical is keeping one of them at bay. Suppressing it alongside the other vertical here. Looks like the small mortar is trying to get some shots on it. Armor piercing bullets enabled. Oh, mortar hits it!
Enemies inflicting losses upon us.
Ooh, that 2-2 is in trouble, especially if the armor piercing bullets penetrate. Looks like he'll get out of that.
Overflights are ready and await your command.
Your command tank is pushing up here.
Now available, Commander.
Those small mortars have actually helped a lot, surprisingly, for the allies. Ooh, good mortar though from the Germans here, from the Luftwaffe. When they grabbed there, it looks like. You know, the Falchion Pioneer is pushing up with rifle grenades. As a tank rifle grenade hits the Lux. AT gun on the side though, that might be the another command Lux. And there it goes. Luftwaffe mortar setting up. We also have a Panzer mortar actually, I completely missed that.
Long-range artillery is at your command.
And where's the Fallschirmjägers? They are stationed around here at the moment. Very good squad that can kill most of the squads in a few seconds when they equip with FD-42s in the right area. But the Germans have secured that little alcove point here, I suppose. Pripyat is a map of choke points, so we can expect a lot of grinding going on. Vika's trying to set up here. By the looks of it, probably... Actually, where might I set up? They need to cover this place still, but... They actually don't have anything that does that. Yet. They don't know the Germans just had a machine gun there to cover it and nothing else. The 2 is relocating. Marksman is still doing a good job killing off the Wehrmacht Aufklar, forcing him to run back.
The pack gun is ready for orders.
German mortars are trying to do their best. The 2 is gonna go for a flank down here by the looks of it. Preparing to. Another weapon airdropped in. Looks like this might be another mortar. Yeah, that's another mortar. I guess they do need the artillery. The artillery support at the moment. Meanwhile, the Panzer mortar is working on counter barraging, so the allied mortars are always under threat.
Ready for action.
Pack also ran for the Panzer division. And the MP42 is back in action. Panzer Grenadiers will be prepared with MP40s and Sturmgewehrs, making them a perfect assault unit.
Enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
They can squad flanking here. The machine gun cannot point out, but they are being flanked here by some Falchion Pioneers from the forest. That's like a Baldeladnung. Yeah, almost killed the commandos. And looks like the Panzer Grenadiers finished them off.
Panzer 4 command tanks can now be deployed.
Luftwaffe needs to get their mortars going. Because I don't think the Panzer mortar is going to last much longer. It's lost its cover. Yeah, and that's a direct shot from the small American mortar killing it. Explosive loaded on the pack. 2 merits in the way. 3 is actually really good at blocking shots and shells, by the way. And lots of smoke shells going in as well for the American mortars. Good uses of all the mortars here from Panther. Having mortar support can be really useful actually, especially the small ones. They're so often overlooked just because they are a 3-man squad, and you generally want the biggest mortar possible according to some people, at least from what I've seen. Not that big mortars are bad, it's just small mortars can have very good utility. The 2 is still able to hold though. Commanders are trying to push across. Cannon bomb on the mortar. The 2 lost its gun. Commanders are pulling back. Lots of smoke though, covering their retreat. They also provide a lot of flares, which is handy. They can actually get white phosphorus if they can get to. veteran to 2 if they didn't have the flares, because I believe that stops them from having that. Like, they're mutually exclusive. Oh no, more 60mm? Yeah, just lots of 60mm. I like it. Nothing wrong with 60mm mortars. There's so many mortar shells of that flying through the air here. Bridge is being repaired by the British to give them an easy avenue to get troops and vehicles across here. Another Fallschirmjäger force arriving. This is an assault group. We already have one of those on the field. This other one is a Feuertruppe, which is essentially a firing team. So to provide long-range support for the assault team, basically. More equipment. Looks like it's a light infantry gun and another mortar. Getting lots of artillery arriving now for the Luftwaffe to utilize. This forest is going to be very painful, isn't it? Also like that we see a forest battle. We don't see too many maps that are forested. Oh wait, forest being like the main terrain. The British are going to get that bridge up and going very fast. That's a veterancy free mortar. Not bad. Just see the shells landing constantly. You also have a pack howitzer for the United States. They're going really heavy on the artillery here. Because the problem is, though, they're both playing commanders that don't really specialize in vehicles late game. And they're fighting a Panzer Division. So if the Panzer Division can hold on long enough for big armored vehicles with Luftwaffe support, that could probably break through the Allied line. We'll need to see. The Americans are taking it heavily as rifle, though, which they are pretty good at. That is a lot of mortars. And all the flares continuously keep the Allies with info on what the Germans are doing. Command looks pushing up to scout ahead. There's still an 80 gun for the British, though. Looks like there's a side blocker here. Light infantry gun is opening fire. 80 rifle grenades going in. No penetration there. One there. Light infantry gun is trying to duel with the mortars. There was an engagement up here with the British pushing up. But there's too many Fallschirmjägers here, I feel. Yeah, very good grade on those commandos. Well, the engagement continues down here. Artillery called in there. Looks like it did a good job. 80 gun might have pushed too far, but it did actually get the kill, so lucky for the Allies. I feel the Fallschirmjägers should probably set up an HQ back here, with how much they're operating from it. We have the Jaegers with the MG-15 here. And lots of artillery landing on the German side here. It looks like the Panzer Division doesn't have a lot of units. They have a decent resource stockpile, but they might be saving up for Panzers. You never know. Ah, he is taking up. I think they can get Panzers now if they get another Pioneer and build the building for it. Panzer F1 arriving here for the Luftwaffe. Trying to support their push. Also, they want to push the Americans back across the river here. There's still this 57. But if they can get rid of the machine gun, the Fallschirmjägers can take care of that, but it might be too late. No, they took care of the machine gun. F1 just has to pull back. Oh, too late. But that 80 gun might be in trouble. And they're trying to pull it back. Makes a lot of sense. But the Luftwaffe is running after it. Looks like they succeed though. As I believe the 57 is pretty fast to move. And use the sprint feature, the rapid maneuvers. Oh, too late, they stopped to turn it around. But they actually managed to get across the river. I think that the 80 gun is safe. You know, the artillery fight keeps going on here. And you forward to keep in the that pack howitzer were pretty far up. Putting a heat shield. Oh, to try and take out the infantry gun, okay. Looks like the battlefield is now even. Both sides control their side of the river. Well, I suppose the Allies control this place too, but semantics. Lots of weapon teams coming out here for the United States. The pack horses will definitely provide a problem for the German front line. Providing a very cheap and very affordable artillery option. Well, very cheap and very effective. The pack horse is actually really good, by the way. They're like one of the best artillery pieces for the United States. Very cheap and effective. Another MG42 airdropped. Took E arriving, probably a good anti-infantry choice because it can be armed with high explosive shells. They're also fighting commanders that are not really tank heavy. The flares also keep giving the Allies viewpoints, and if you actually can see the target, I believe the artillery is also more accurate. We do have a Cromwell 95 with a Cromwell 95mm howitzer coming up here. Yep, that is the howitzer version, which is unique to the commandos. They're gonna try and punch through the Luftwaffe here. Pretty handy right there. Commandos pushing up alongside it. The Germans are lacking AT equipment on this side. But we do have the Stukia and another command looks arriving for the Panzer Division. So much smoke landing constantly. Very useful ability from the British. I believe it's the British using it. It might also be Americans, but I think it's the British. Ooh, and here comes the Cromwell. Ooh, killing one Fallschirmjäger there instantly. And pulling back into the smoke. Panzerfaust going out though. Destroying the main gun of the Cromwell. Forcing it back. But here comes the second one. I don't think the Fallschirmjägers are prepared for it. Honestly, the Cromwell with the house is pretty good. He's favorite to support. I don't think he'll do well against tanks. Yeah, it looks like they have to pull back immediately because the Luftwaffe is lacking in equipment to stop it. I think that was close to pocket that activated. Yeah, it looks like close to pocket. Which is gonna pep all the front lines with small light mortar shells, but that's not gonna be enough, I think. They didn't even have any points they've cut off. Bouquet is fighting against Americans here. Already loaded with high explosives. Killing one squad there. What are the Germans going to do at this point? It's not looking that good for them. Americans have finally brought in a 2 Sherman, so that should start to threaten the front line in the center a bit more. The Americans actually only have 1 rifleman squad left. They might need to invest in some more infantry, but I suppose they have so many team weapons. More airdrops coming in for the German Luftwaffe. Some commandos infiltrated in the rear here. They already been detected. Ooh, they're getting behind heavy cover there. That might actually let them win an engagement. No, they got suppressed. I mean, other commanders are flanking. Using an instant grenade. Ah, but it hits the building. That's not good. Barfrey going out. Command bomb going out though. Which is more than enough. The Not looking good here for the Germans at all. We do have an MG42 here. Americans trying to pull to the center now with their Sherman. Ooh, Stuk uses a heat steal, I think, there. Great effect. High explosive shells I don't think will do much, however. Four Stars and Division call in. Stuk down. Ostdeutschland is on the field here. Unique squad available to Panzer Division. You can only have one of them in the field at a time. Really damn good squad, by the way. Ooh, looks like the British just lost some troops there to the Fallschirmjägers. But the Cromwell 95 should be able to punch through these German forces.
Specially outfitted Panzer IV command tanks are now available.
Commando's calling here, Commander Officer. We're not looking good for the Panzer Grenadier here. They're still down by the propaganda artillery. They need to get a Panzerfaust off. Ooh, mistake though from the Cromwell. It was targeting the Panzer Grenadiers. They probably have targeted the Fallschirmjägers. Lucky Panzer Grenadiers though, they didn't get hit by the artillery. Looks like the Germans are still holding that part of the map here. At least somewhat. That's a dead officer again. It's not really worth infiltrating the command officer, I feel, unless you actually have the area secured. Fallschirmjägers are trying to make a push for this little hill here, but it's being covered by a Vickers fighting position. Then call to obscure them though. I guess the Germans are just trying to hold on until they can get heavy panzers or something. They do have a Panzer Division after all, so might be all they need. Let's see if the boys 85 can pierce the looks. Not the first shot anyway. They just need one shot to penetrate. And there it goes. The pack is being shelled by lots of American artillery. Yeah, the German Panzer front line is not lasting for long. Oh, backshot hits the Coast Deutschland, forcing them to back already. 52 is on fire support duty. But here comes the Sherman 76. You have a Panzer IV running for the Luftwaffe though, and another one coming on the way. Which might give the Germans the armored support they need to last for a little bit longer at this rate. They might be setting up for a Tiger, because they're not far off. I don't think against the pack howitzers the Tiger might be a good call, because the pack howitzers can use heat shells. They can get heat barrage. Which means they can be very effective against tanks if they're in an area. We also have some Panzerjägers arriving here for the Wehrmacht. We're gonna see a Tiger tank is the question. Is all the bets on the Tiger? Ooh, Panzerjägers on the wrong side of the cover. Not where you want to be. Pillbox going up here for the Luftwaffe. The Luftwaffe is really fortifying that part of the map. Something the Luftwaffe can be surprisingly good at. And yes, we are seeing the Tiger tank. Germans are calling in a Tiger to try and keep the Allies at bay here. At this river crossing in the middle of a forest. The Allies have just got a big artillery battery of pack howitzers. Oh, and a land mattress arriving here for the British to do supplement. Oh, good shot for that Panzerschreck, killing a Sherman. Another Panzer IV Aegis have been prepared here. Pillbox is turning into a observation bunker, which I am not sure what that's good at. Huh. And we have another Cromwell trying to push up here. It's pulling back immediately. It probably realizes something is up. Probably thinking there's a minefield, anti-tank minefield there. Which you would be right to believe, I think, after seeing the pioneers. And yes, there's a Regal mine. Right there anyway.
The command bunker is now finished and reinforcements can be found.
Land mattress opening fire. Ooh. Will that 2-2 survive? No, the rockets are hitting the 2-2. Lucky 2-2 just hit by some shrapnel. The Tiger tank is almost on the field and the Panzer for ages. Also ready to go into action if need be. And the others just keep eyes on the axis by the use of flares from the small mortars, which is very good to see. And the stuff you want to see. Here's the Tiger tank. Followed by a command Stuk by the looks of it. So the British are just going to fortify, realize that they are not going to be able to attack in that angle anymore. Not Königstiger, just normal Tiger. Tank, Tiger. They need to get to the next tier if they want to get the King Tiger, which Wehrmacht Panzer can get. Half class to pull back. Not too much fire there. Stuk pushing up though. And Tiger tank moving up behind. Also the observation Stuk is going to call an artillery strike first of all. Allies have prepared a pretty big convoy here though. Tiger tanks open fire. Ooh, hits the German wreck in the way. And here comes the German artillery.
We have lost a tank gun.
Ooh, destroying the AT gun. Which might be one of the openings to German. Ooh, Fleischberg gets hit by an artillery strike. Or the pike howitzers. But the Panzer for ages are ready to move in. Bridge is almost destroyed though. Looking into an Overwatch position. Aegis is trying to push across. And the Tiger's moving on the other flank, but it's being flanked by another AT gun. It's been immobilized. Oh no, the Tiger tank is stuck there. That's not good. Hopefully it can at least provide a good bit of fire support. That's for Aegis losing that bridge. Bridge down. Gunner wounded. The man Stuk is pushing up. I think the Stuk is trying to get at the AT guns. They lost the engine. Tiger lost his gun. Not looking good there. Fallschirmjäger is quickly trying to rush up. The Tiger is still holding. We have more troops going up here quickly. They're just trying to rush up to defend the Tiger tank.
We are suffering losses.
But Germans taking heavy losses trying to do this. They did take out most of the American artillery. But there goes the Tiger tank.
We have lost a Panzer.
Oh my. Oh my. A lot of action over this little area. Both sides lost a fair bit in that little engagement, it looks like. But I think the Germans lost more. Yes, Germans, you want to lose less troops than the Allies, always. That's always what you want him to do. Fallschirmjägers are trying to secure the point here, but that might be too much fire coming their way. More ghost stories along the field here. Scott coming out for the United States. Oh, the British don't have a lot of troops left, actually. Getting a rifle section into commandos. Also, they've completely halted any attempt to cross CM, but I tried to deny it for the Germans as well. So most of the fighting is going to be around here. 2-2 went down there. Looks like we're going to have a grind for this little place, this part of the river. The slam matches could be a big problem though if it fires at the right time. White phosphorus. Rocket still, but it's being shot at. Only getting one rocket off so far. Actually, only looks like one rocket at all. So much fighting here. Oh, another pack house that just killed another Fallschirmjäger. Scott moving up. The Germans are still losing the artillery fight. Despite their best attempts. Another Tiger tank being prepared by the Germans. So they're still getting some heavy armor support to try and hold this river crossing. Must be very important. Whoa, and the Luftwaffe mortar team goes down there. The Panzerjägers out in the open is not going to work well. There's not very allied infantry nearby. Half class been trying to do their best here to just keep eyes on the allies. Oh, they actually do have a nice sight thanks to that flare. They know exactly what the allies are doing at the moment. Panzer 4H arriving. The second Tiger is almost on the front line.
Panzer Grenadiers standing by.
And more Panzer Grenadiers arriving as well, I think. No, that's actually just Panzerjägers. It uses the Panzer Grenadier voice lines. Which makes sense, there's not voice lines for everything. German 76 present several German 76s are being procured up the rear. Meanwhile, the Luftwaffe is trying to dig in on this side of the river. Provide some support for their Panzer Division comrades. Kameraden. Tiger tank is trying to make a go for it. You also have a Kampfkraft center established here to improve the veterancy of their units. So with this upgrade, all his tanks will now have veterancy 1 out the get-go. This is now veterancy 1 Tiger immediately. Which can actually scale pretty fast if you know what you're doing. Well, the Ghost Storysign is doing a good job there. Tiger tank is ready again here. Let's see if it works. Both Grenadiers moving up here with MP40s. Or preparing to. Ghost Storysign and Fallschirmjägers are keeping the Allied AT gun occupied. Well, unoccupied to be more specific. The Brits are trying to repair the command Stuke. And probably steal for themselves. That seems like a very British commando thing to do. Fallschirmjägers up behind these sandbags. And Tiger tank is making his move. Luke's pushing on the other flank meanwhile. Fallschirmjägers are down. Now the Tiger tank has to hold the center almost on its own again. Aiming for the Shermans, which I guess makes sense. Although the British have stolen the Stuke here. One penetration on the Tiger. Slowly taking out all the allied tanks, one by one. Command Stroke is trying to get in position, but I don't think he can see it. Gunner has been wounded. Panzer IV moving up to take the front line, but it's creating a little bit of a traffic jam. It's too narrow of a passing. But this has allowed the Germans to get over the river. We have another Cromwell 95 here, alongside the Stolen Stuk. Ooh, good job for this Cromwell killing a lot of German infantry. So the Cromwell's gonna go on a flanking mission. Oh, the Stuka, I mean. Panzer IV-H. Maybe a 9 this direction. We're trying to do a manual target by looks of it. And looks like it got it. Holy shit, okay. Stolen Command Stream against Panzer IV-H. I wonder who wins that. I think it was the Panzer IV so far. Well, now it's definitely going to be the Panzer IV. Oh, no penetration.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
There we go, guns down. Now it's basically one. Oh, immobilized by the boys. AT rifle though. It looks like the Germans are turning this around for now.
Tank ready.
Tiger just needs to get repaired. Land maps is in the hands of the Americans now. Oh, looks like the Allies are pulling back though. Looks like the Germans managed to hold the river crossing. Impressive. I hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one, everyone. Bye bye.